Hi everyone, this is Tim Hadley of the Heights Baseball Program. I'm here with Brian Carocchio. We're doing a podcast for July. This is our first podcast since last January, and we have a couple topics we want to cover. This is our first podcast since the season's over. So Brian, why don't you tell us a little bit about how the season went and everything like that?
This won 25 games and won the state title again. I guess one disappointment was losing the Old Line championship game after going 10-0 in the league, but. You know my opinions. You and I share the same opinion on playoffs. We're both sort of regular season guys, and the 10-0 in the league I think is quite an accomplishment. So, all in all, really a good year and a good 2 years, and we're sending off a good senior class, and they won a lot. They had a real successful time here, and we're going to miss them.
So the state title. Old Line regular season, we won 10-0.
Yep.
25 games, one of the most tied for second most in team history.
Okay.
So it's not a bad season, but we immediately kind of jump into the summer.
Yep.
And the summer team has been a little different from the summer teams of years past.
Yes. One of the things we did this year is we decided to schedule games at the Heights. And as opposed to joining a formal league, we decided to sort of independently schedule. And by and large, it's worked out. The convenience of having everything at the Heights, I think, has been good for the guys. Guys can show up and practice before the game if guys can come and get ground balls or batting practice. So that's something we're going to continue to do, and I think that our summer program has been getting better. It's only 3 years old, and it will continue to get better. But yeah, it was a bit of a risk. I think the certainty of a league is nice to have, but at the same time, I'm pretty happy with how things have turned out. So we're probably going to do things this way going forward.
Now, with the graduation of 10 seniors, the summer team has taken on kind of a younger look. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's almost a completely different team. I mean, there are obviously some guys from last year's team who are still here, but it's by and large. I mean, it's 75% basically entirely different people. So, yeah, it's been a really young team, but. At the same time, I think that's what's been so much fun about it is it's been a completely different group of guys. It's been it's been a chance for me to get to work with the younger players and me to get to evaluate the younger players, and I've been pretty impressed with a number of guys. So yeah, I think that is what's actually sort of made the entire thing as much fun as it's been. It's been a really fun summer, and I think the young guys is the reason for that. So, we have 18 guys on the roster, and we have 3 8th graders. We've got a bunch of 9th graders. There's some good players coming up. So, it's encouraging. It's exciting times in that sense.
So with the summer schedule only going to last a couple more weeks, I think it basically wraps up before August.
Yes.
And August is kind of given off for families and players to kind of get ready for the school to start again. And then once we get into the fall, this is the 6th or 7th straight year that we've had a full fall schedule. Why don't you tell us about the schedule?
Sure. The fall is another thing that is evolving, I suppose. What we mainly do during the fall is after-school workouts. In other words, we'll practice a couple times a week after school. It's typically for guys who are not playing another sport at the Heights, and it's to work to stay sharp. It's also for younger guys to come out and kind of get a sense of how the program works. By and large, I expect guys who are not participating in other sports to be there. It's not quote-unquote mandatory, but if guys aren't going to be there, they should have a good reason that they're not there. But yeah, the fall is when we get a lot of practice in. We're back in the Wood Bat Classic again, which could be as many as 8 teams this year. That's something that's being ironed out right now. And also we'll have the Gray-White Classic in late October, which is kind of the intra-squad. So yeah, we have an action-packed fall. And the fall is a great time to work on things and improve fundamentals without the pressure of a season and games immediately coming up. In other words, you can sort of take time and you can break down a guy's pitching mechanics. You can rework a guy's batting stance. Those are luxuries you have in the fall that you don't necessarily have in the course of a season.
So when the fall practices start up, there are going to be some slight changes from the past years. Part of them involving me.
Yes. Well, I guess the big news that we've had this summer is David Forniciari stepped aside as the JV coach, and Tim is going to step into that role. But I guess the JV role is going to be only part of is one part of Tim's new job. He's going to be the head of player development, and what that means is that Tim here is basically going to oversee the developmental programs, primarily the middle school and the junior varsity. And he's going to be in charge of that. He's going to be in charge of the players in those different programs. He's going to be at the middle school practices, and he's going to be working in conjunction with those coaches in terms of player development. One of the things I've wanted to do for a number of years is really improve our pipeline, our player development. I've thought for a number of years that it could be better, and I think Tim's the ideal guy for that in terms of his ability to teach the game and to teach the fundamentals. So that's something I'm super excited about. We've never really, in my opinion, had the resources to have something like that, to have a player development guy. Over the past few years, that's changed, and we're growing, and our resources are getting better. So it's a luxury that we're going to be able to have, and that's another thing I'm super excited about is coming off a great season, in a couple great years. I think we're only going to get better. We're only going to keep improving.
So basically, my job is to make your job a little easier.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah. That's why I hired you. Is a lot of people come up to me and they'll say, the website's great, or they'll say this is great, or they'll say, so and so is doing a better job hitting, and that was Coach Fritz's work. So yes, that is your job, is to make me receive more credit than I deserve. Yes, that's correct.
Alrighty, well, hopefully we'll try to get podcasts a little bit more frequently. This season was kind of rough with all the time commitments that it took, but we'll hopefully have another one maybe next month. And you have anything else you want to add before we head out, Brian?
No, I don't have much. Tim was right. It was a long season, but I feel like we've gotten some rest, and we're back to work here, and hopefully another good few years of Heights baseball.
Alrighty, sounds good.
All right.